Good morning. Well, today is Monday the 27th of March 2017. It's quite cloudy at the moment, but that doesn't matter because I'm in the Yorkshire Dales. Need I say more? Today I've come back to Wensleydale, this time to the tranquil picture postcard village of Redmire. Situated in the Richmondshire district of North Yorkshire, about 4 miles west of Leyburn, Redmire is a perfect example of a traditional Yorkshire Dales community and makes an ideal base for holidays for those who prefer to stay a little off the beaten track. During this stay in the Yorkshire Dales, I had a meal here in the Bolton Arms one evening. The bar is lovely, with a very spacious dining area. I was warmly welcomed by the landlord, and the young chap serving my food was nice too, very helpful, and went out of his way to make sure everything was all right for me. The Old Town Hall offers comfortable accommodation, awarded 5 stars by Enjoy England, and complimented by first-class cuisine. The Jonas Centre can also provide self-catering accommodation in one of its 12 Scandinavian log cabins, and is open all year round. From the centre of the village, I walked along Church Lane before turning right to follow Well Lane. I soon passed St Mary's Church, a Grade II listed parish church, which dates from the 12th century. The chancel roof was restored around 1895, and the nave roof, found to be infested with deathwatch beetle, was restored in 1925. The royal coat of arms dates from 1720. I continued to follow Well Lane. I came to the end of Well Lane as I passed through a gate to reach the banks of the River Ure. As the footpath swung to the right, high above the river, the views were fantastic. I carried on along the path running parallel with the river. Soon I reached the end of Mill Lane, from where I could see in the distance what was ahead. There we are. I'm heading for that. Redmire Force lies a bit further downstream from the more famous Aysgarth Falls. Although arguably not as spectacular as Aysgarth, the Redmire Rapids are certainly just as lovely, and I was more than happy just to stand here for a while and watch the rushing water. So that was Redmire Force, really lovely. And there's something about just standing beside running fresh water which is so relaxing. Well, now it's time for me to head back to Redmire Village. As I retraced my steps from Redmire Force, I had views of something else I would be seeing later on this walk. I followed a path which led me along Mill Lane back into Redmire. The name Redmire means reedy marsh. This is testament to how marshy this part of the Dale was in medieval times. In Victorian times, most of the villagers were coal miners. Each miner kept a cow and subscribed to a cow club. This paid for a herdsman to look after the cattle while the miners worked at the coal seams. Redmire has its own station on the Wensleydale Railway. The 16-mile line links the village with the markets in Leyburn and stations down in Leeming in the Vale of York, all serviced by diesel and occasionally steam locomotives, making several return trips each day. Just north of the village, I passed under a railway bridge near Redmire Station. Immediately beyond the bridge, I turned left onto a path, making my way towards my next destination. My path ran alongside the disused part of the Wensleydale Railway. I crossed a bridge over Apedale Beck and then walked up the meadows. Before long, I had a closer view of what I had seen earlier in the distance. Now I can see the next place I'm approaching. I began to head towards the castle and entered the small village named after it. So I'm now in the village of Castle Bolton, and that behind me is Bolton Castle. The origins of Castle Bolton are, like many Dales villages, unclear. While it is quite likely that the present form of the village dates from after the construction of the castle, which was built between 1377 and around 1400, evidence suggests a settlement may well have existed at or about this position in the latter half of the 14th century. Almost certainly by the 17th century, the present form of the village is likely to have been established, although most surviving buildings date from the 18th or 19th centuries. Census returns from 1851 reveal that as many people in the village were occupied in quarrying and mining as were occupied in farming or related activities. By the 20th century, the increasing population in the village was reversed. Between 1851 and 1991, the population decreased by about half, while the number of buildings surrounding the village green seems to have been reduced by about a similar proportion over the same period. There has been no significant modern development, and the historic integrity of the settlement has been largely preserved. Significant events and people that have been associated with the village include Mary Queen of Scots, who was imprisoned in the castle, her retinue being accommodated in cottages in the village between 1568 and 1569. In 1910, Fred Lawson, a well-known local artist, came to Castle Bolton for a month's holiday and stayed until 1968, using Studio Cottage in the centre of the village as his base. The drama festivals, created by George Jackson in the 1950s, are also fondly remembered. St Oswald's Church is a Grade II listed parish church, which dates from the 14th century. The south aisle was rebuilt around 1770, and the church restored in 1853. It is the burial place of the Metcalfe family. The main attraction of Castle Bolton is not surprisingly Bolton Castle. A Grade 1 listed building, the castle still remains in great condition, despite damage caused during the English Civil War, and the extensive damage caused when the castle was torched in 1536 by order of the King for supporting the Pilgrimage of Grace rebellion against King Henry VIII. The castle is most famous for holding Mary Queen of Scots prisoner after her defeat at the Battle of Langside in 1568. In January 1569, Mary left Bolton Castle for Tutbury in Staffordshire, where she spent 18 years before her execution. Today, the current owner, Lord Bolton, a direct descendant of the Scrope family, allows hundreds of tourists to visit Bolton Castle and its grounds year upon year, which are managed by his son and daughter-in-law. So that's Bolton Castle, here in the village of Castle Bolton. I've almost finished my walk now for today. I've just got to walk back to Redmire and then I've got to drive over the tops to where I'm staying for tonight. Upon my return to Redmire, I got into my car and made my way northwards along Hargill Lane, which slowly climbed up to cross the bleak landscape of Redmire Moor. I was heading for the village where I would be staying tonight, and as the lane began to descend towards it across Grinton Moor, I just stopped briefly to take a last look around me. Well, yet another fantastic walk here in the Yorkshire Dales, and it's nice to see another part of Wensleydale. Well, I'm nearly at my digs now. I can see the village down in the valley below, and that's where I'm staying tonight.